Hello, Terry. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Is it morning still?
No, it's the afternoon.
It's flicked over, yeah.
And the sun is splitting the paving stones, which it has been doing all the spring. You've just come back from Australia. When did you come back?
Oh, it's actually a couple of weeks now,
Oh, is it?
although I feel like I still haven't recovered. It's sort of endless jet lag, goes into some disease my children picked up on the plane, and then I was on tour in Scotland, so you don't really get over it.
It's ever thus.
Yeah.
Yeah, you looked okay on Ruth Jones last night.
Well, that's makeup for you.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's the miracle.
It is.
Can you ask Tim Minchin to say Merry Christmas? To me and my brother Will, we've just seen him live, and the tickets were a Christmas present from me. It would make our Easter. This is from Hope Thomas.
That's fantastic. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, well done. Could you ask that clever guy Minchin, can you tell him he's responsible for my being sacked from hospital radio?
Oh.
This is Len, you see. This
Wow.
is
Yeah,
Len
okay. Well,
Horridge.
that's, we'll
You see,
address that
Haven't
issue.
seen him live, as if there's any other way to see anybody who isn't lying in state. I thought it'd be great to end my show with a live version, as there is no other version, of Canvas Bags,
Oh, yes.
which
it
is your
has
speciality.
One cuss.
It was working well until the words blackout. And I was just about to fade the jingle in and forgot the bit at the end. Another
got
budding
to-
career ended, you see.
Yes, I do have a problem with content sometimes.
You've destroyed a man's life here.
I know. Well, not just a man's life. I'm sure he's just the one who wrote in.
So obviously, those who know you love you and know all about you, but you were born here in Northampton.
Yeah.
When did you go to Australia?
Well, by the time I was 1, and I was born of Australian parents too, so any claims to Britishness I have are purely sort of passport-based and trying to cozy up to you mob. I'm pretty Australian, but I like it here very much, if you
You've
don't
come
mind.
crawling back here, though, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have, for the weather.
Of course, yeah, there's a lot of flooding in Australia. They've had a hard old time there.
It's not been
So
nice.
you live with your wife and 2 young children? How old
I
are
do.
the kids?
In North London, I've got a 4 and a bit-year-old and an almost 2-year-old.
Yeah.
They like Easter in a hysterical, crying kind of way.
Everybody's going to be covered in chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you're best known. Tell me about the musical, because that was a great triumph, wasn't it?
It has been so far, and this is I wrote music and lyrics for the Royal Shakespeare Company adaptation of Roald Dahl's Matilda.
Yeah.
Sort of worked on it over the last 2 years with Dennis Kelly, who wrote the script, and it went on in Stratford over Christmas and just got sort of the sort of reviews you dream about, and it's going to open on the West End in October or November or something, and it's incredibly cool, and I have very high hopes for it, obviously, but it's so far beyond my expectations.
But why would the Royal Shakespeare Company pick you out of the wilderness to write the music for
My
that
wife's response when I told her that I thought I had secured this job was, why didn't they get a proper composer? Which, in my wife's uncanny way, echoed my deepest fears. And it was a sort of brave choice, I guess, with Kelly, the writer, as well. We're both known for quite dark, often fairly uncompromisingly adult material. But I guess the RSC, in combination with the Dahl estate, recognised that actually part of what makes Dahl so brilliant is this sort of darkness, which children seem to deal with fine. You know, they don't seem to mind it, but it's a strangely adult style of darkness.
How do you see yourself? I mean, this is a question you're going to be asked 100 times, and probably have been already. A musician or a comedian?
Oh, it's very much a musician, or at least a songwriter, because comedy came very late. I've always written stupid songs, but as the genre, I choose to put myself in the stupid song genre. But I didn't start doing solo shows purely concentrating on the satirical stuff till I was almost 30. So I'll always just be a songwriter, and coming back into theatre in such a wonderful way with Dahl and the RSC. I mean, it's just... I first wrote music for theatre when I was 17, and then I've, through comedy, come back into it in the best way possible. So I still just see myself as someone who plays with words and writes songs.
You're going to sing a song for us now at the Elton John's piano, so mind how you go. Not too heavy on the keys.
Okay, sure.
And you originally performed this for Ruth Jones' Easter Treat.
Yeah, it aired last night. I got back from Australia a couple of weeks ago, and and had been having this ongoing dialogue, which happens every time I'm on the radio or television with the producers of the show. And there's always two problems, which is that my songs tend to be long because they go on sort of journeys and often have long lead-ups before the joke breaks and so on. And they're often either they have some bad language in them because, I don't know, I'm a modern comedian and you're allowed, I suppose, or they deal with concepts that aren't for everybody. And so I was having this argument and I was totally jet-lagged and I thought, oh, maybe I'll just write a song. So I wrote what I thought was the song that the Beeb wanted from me, and then proceeded to pepper it with as much sort of underhanded naughtiness as I could. So I don't think it will upset anyone. It's certainly not meant to, but it's cheeky, I think.
Yeah, it just might wake up Terry's old geezers and gals this Easter Sunday. Go ahead.
All right, here we go.
This is called what?
This is called the 3-minute song.
Okay, Tim Minchin.
My people rang me up a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I've got people and a phone and a grasp on the passage of time. Yeah, they rang me up, said, Tim, will you go on Terry's show? They want you to sing a song. It'll be fine, fine, fine. But the problem with my particular oeuvre is that half my songs are 5 minutes and over. And the wisdom here at the BBC is that people switch off if you go past 3. And a lot of my songs have a bit of blue language, which causes producers untold anguish. It seems their tolerance for smuttiness is reserved for all those pussy puns on Are You Being Served? And so I need a song that only goes for 3 minutes, without no bums, no blasphemy in it. A lovely little song specifically written for the delicate skins of middle-class Britain. I need a song with a chorus and a verse, without no nasty, a cussing and a cursing. I'm a little too lewd and a little too long. I gotta write myself a 3-minute song. And they said, remember boy, that music is like love making. It's simply self-indulgent to take it past 3 minutes. Remember boy, that music is like love making. Everybody loves a pianist, but length must have a limit. So you need a song that only goes for 3 minutes, without no pornography or politics in it. You're a little verbose and a little bit wrong. You gotta find yourself a clean living 3-minute song. 300 beats at 100 beats a minute, with nice clean jokes and a hoedown in it. Something you can guarantee will generate smiles on the time-honored dials of the Wogan of files. And even in the bridge, I won't be lyrically adventurous, conceptually offensive, or racially contentious. And I won't make double entendres at the expense of the Chinese. For China is a country that can bring me to my knees. For China, for China, for China, for China, for China is a country that will bring us to our knees. 2, 3, foreskin. I need a little happy clappy country song, nice and repetitive and not too long, boring enough but not too boring, with a key change here to prevent me snoring. I need a song that is only 3 minutes, without no buggery or blasphemy in it, something with a pleasing rhyme and rhythm. Well, if you can't beat 'em, get conservative with 'em. I need a song that causes no offense, to flog more tickets to my concerts by pretending for a while that satirical song hasn't moved on since Flanders and Swan. The comedy shouldn't have moved beyond the use of backdoor as a double entendre, that issues of taste should be defined by the comments page of the Mail Online. Cause I've got a show and I want to get you in it, so don't touch your knob, ha ha ha, I'll be done in 3 minutes.
And so you did. I've been timing you.
Bang on.
And there you are doing your Sandy show.
I can work to a brief.
You do this in bare feet always.
I do wear bare feet as much as I can. It makes me feel like I'm in my lounge room, which makes me happier.
Yeah, close to
than thinking there's millions of people listening to this.
Close to the earth. Now, when you appear with the 55-piece Heritage Orchestra, which you're doing at the moment,
I am.
Do you come treading on in the old bare feet, or?
I do, bare feet, and much more formal above the ankle, but similarly informal below. Yeah, it started as a kind of honest. As I say, relaxation technique when I was playing not silly, but tiny little clubs in Melbourne. And it was just this sense that if I relaxed, I'd be better. A glass of wine, bare feet, no one can touch me. And then it became part of a look, really, I suppose. And, thank you, Terry. Terry just passed me a drink.
Just a glass of wine, since you mentioned. It's a little Australian Moscato, which Ollie Smith
it's
brought
bubbly
in.
and sweet, like like Terry Wogan, I
And a
suppose.
bit not unlike yourself, you know. Beneath the facade.
It's a love-in. Yeah, so it became part of my image anyway, and now I'm happy enough with it.
So, I mean, there you are, on those little clubs in Melbourne, and now you're going to be in the Albert Hall.
Yes, with 55 incredibly well-trained, much better than me at music, classical musicians doing what I tell them to.
29th of April, you're there.
Yeah, and competing with the Royal Wedding. I figured, why not have an alternative royal event?
Are you an Australian Republican, or?
I think I'm a Republican. Yeah, it seems a bit abstruse that we should hold on to our monarchic state, but I'm not rabid. I think the royal wedding's pretty weird, especially for the couple. I don't know if they'll have a very nice day, do you?
Oh, I think they'll have a fantastic day. Well, it'll all be a haze, won't it?
It will be a haze. I mean, anyone's wedding is a haze, but when you've got 10 billion people watching you, I guess it's beyond a haze, whatever.
You think they'll be watching in Australia? Of course they will.
Oh, yeah. In Australia, there's elements of Australian culture that, in that way, that only people who leave a place maintain the culture of a place more than the... You never get a tea bag in Australia. My mum always makes pots of tea. You can't find a pot of tea anywhere in this country.
Yes, it's a bit like the Irish in Boston and New York, isn't it?
Yeah, or Runcorn outside of Liverpool. They're kind of more scousy than Liverpudlians.
So, tell me what's next then. I mean, Matilda, then the huge concert orchestra thing, and will you retire then quietly and regroup?
When I say I have great hopes for Matilda, I'm talking totally as an economic rationalist. No, I'm doing a BBC prom, which I'm doing a comedy prom, which is ridiculous. Again, I'll have to be careful with content because it's for broadcast, but it will be really fun and
the promenaders will love you. They'll be stomping along to
I
you.
know, waving Australian flags maybe, and then Matilda goes up. I'll probably do a few more orchestra shows in Australia next year, but I think the next thing I'll do creatively is try and write another musical that's further towards my sort of material and my sort of worldview, and see how I go on that. Sort of set myself a challenge to make something quite dark and adult for the stage.
What about the rest of Easter Sunday now?
The immediate future is even less clear. I think I'll get in a car, I'll go home and try and survive the afternoon of very tired children full of chocolate.
Good. Let me take your glass because...
Oh, thanks.
You've got to play for us again.
Okay.
Minchin, this is a mystery song, isn't it?
Well,
this is something you've kept from us.
Yeah, this song is something... my shows go from the sort of bawdy and whimsical to the sometimes quite... They're quite political and a bit challenging, but I believe very much in... I'm a comedian, but my shows are sort of meant to be very theatrical and entertaining, and I generally finish my shows whimsically to just sort of ease people out onto the streets. And this song I wrote for my very first show, which I always introduce by saying it's a song about that feeling we all get sometimes when you feel like you're the smallest doll in a babushka doll. And it's called Not Perfect. And for the first time ever, I'm playing it in a different key because I'm tired. This is my earth, and I live in it. It's 1/3 dirt and 2/3 water, and it rotates and revolves through space at rather an impressive pace, and never even messes up my hair. And here's a really weird thing. The force created by its spin is the force that stops the chaos flooding in. This is my earth, and it's fine. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect. This is my house, and I live in it. It's made of cracks and photographs we bought it from a guy, who bought it from a guy, who bought it from a guy, whose granddad left it to him. And the weirdest thing is that this house has locks to keep the baddies out, but they're mostly used to lock ourselves in. This is my house, and it's fine. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect, but it's mine. This is my body, and I live in it. It's 35 and 6 months old. It's changed a lot since it was new. It's done stuff it wasn't built to do. I often try to fill it up with wine. And the weirdest thing about it is I spend so much time hating it, but it never says a bad word about me. This is my body, and it's fine. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect. This is my brain, and I live in it. It's made of love and bad song lyrics. It's tucked away behind my eyes, where all my screwed up thoughts can hide. 'Cause God forbid I hurt somebody. And the weirdest thing about a mind is that every answer that you find is the basis of a brand new cliche. This is my brain, and it's fine. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect. I'm not quite sure I've worked out how to work it. It's not perfect, but it's mine.
That was really lovely.
Thanks.
That's terrific.
Tim, I do have a soul after all.
Wonderful. Tim, thank you for giving part of your Easter Sunday to join us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Great pleasure to have you with us.
Anytime.
Good man. We've got Brass in Pocket.